Hello, everyone, and welcome to That's Teaaful podcast. My name is Montavia Williams, and I am bringing to you a safe space with Teaaful conversations. Today, my first guest, I have not only my cousin, my college roommate, but the Kayla Zhane.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Kayla Zhane, and I'm here finna give y'all some tea. It's piping hot, period.
Period. I am so happy to have you here, Kayla.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You don't understand how much I look up to you, how much you have helped me, especially in college. I always came to you for everything. And you was
my girl.
you was always there for me. We could talk about it, really.
No, because we're really going to get down to the nitty-gritty.
We could talk about it, but first, I want you to start off with younger Kayla and how you grew up.
Okay, so I grew up I was raised in South Park, and then I grew up with my grandparents and my mom, and then we eventually moved to the north side, like the city gas area. Growing up, I was always into myself. I remember one time in 5th grade, this boy talked about my flat booty, and it really didn't it really did not bother me. I will never forget that. Anyways, he in prison right now. Let's clock that T.
That's Teaaful.
Hello, let's clock that T. He's in prison. But I remember we was in 5th grade, and I had on we used to have to wear uniforms. And so I had my pants tucked in, and he had made a comment. It was like, something with that flat ass booty. And y'all, for some reason, it didn't make me sad, and I really didn't give a fuck because I was comfortable in who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when I got to high school, everybody used to always say, I'm so confident, I'm so this and that. And I really feel like I was just born like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was born like that. And what people really don't know about me is that, I grew up, I'm not going to say I was poor because I had the things I needed, but I grew up riding the Metro bus to the doctor's appointments with my mom and things like that. My grandparents, they had one vehicle, and then when my mom got married, they still had one vehicle. So a lot of my appointments and stuff, my mama had appointments, we used to have to ride the Metro bus. And so I just be thinking about that sometimes because where I'm now, my mama got her own car. I got my own car.
Right.
I graduated 2 times, 2 degrees.
2 times.
And it's just crazy because I'm like, wow, even though we grew up poor, it didn't feel like it because I really had everything that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I'm older, I just be telling people stay a child. I'm a high school teacher now, so I just be like, stay a child as long as you want, as long as you can, because baby, when you get older, and the bills start coming.
Talk about it.
And just always embrace your childhood too, because your childhood is made you who you are today. Whether it's you trying to do better than who you was when you were younger, or trying to be, trying to overcome things that you went through when you were younger, just trying to be a better you. Just be grateful for your childhood because a lot of things you want to do better for from when you was younger. So just be grateful for those experiences and who those things shape you to who you are now.
Okay, so you did mention that you graduated 2 times.
2 times.
2 times. And that was from Prairie View A&M University and
Yes.
Lamar University, correct? So what other accomplishments have you done?
Okay, so when I was in undergrad, let's start with undergrad. When I was in undergrad, I was so involved in school, I started an organization called PLUSH, which stands for Pretty Ladies Unique Shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a body positivity women's empowerment organization, specifically for women of all shapes and sizes, but majority girls wear plus size because we had a plus size fashion show. And so that kind of pushed more people to join in that wear plus size, but it's open to women of all shapes and sizes. And so I was active in that. I was a pal. I was doing so many things. And then after I graduated, I made the organization a nonprofit because when I was in school, people was asking me from other campuses, I want to start one at my school. And so eventually I want to charter that organization to other campuses for women of all sizes. Mm-hmm. So that's number 1. I own a nonprofit.
Period.
Secondly, I am an entrepreneur. I started a business back in 2020 when the pandemic hit. I had got this idea because I've always loved journals. I used to go to Hobby Lobby, everywhere, get journals. And I was like, I wanted to create this journal, this self-love journal. So I reached out to one of my pageant sisters when I was in college. I was in the Miss Black and Gold pageant. I reached out to her and I was telling her, like, I want to start this. She's good with graphics. She even was doing graphics for, like, the official Prairie View website and the football team. Like, she did all that graphics. So I was testing her. I was like, I feel like you can do it. Like, I want to create a journal catering to, self-love, self-care. And she was like, let's do it. So it took it took me about a year to kind of really get back on it because the pandemic happened. I got my first big girl job. I started working for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a parole officer. And so they kind of pushed things off. Then I moved into my apartment and then I was like, I'm really ready to kind of get things going. And so I started sending her some ideas. She was sending me stuff back. I actually wrote like my whole journal. I typed it out, sent it to her. I had somebody edit it. I found me a vendor. My vendor sent me a sample after she finished it. So I created my first journal. And so then last year, during the year of 2022, I was like in a real bad place mentally. And so I kind of created like a healing journal. And so that was my last journal that I released last year, which I kind of moved some things around because the first time I created it, it was more so for women. And so this one I kind of wanted to be for men and women. So I used different people, different pictures. And I specifically targeted towards healing. So healing, celebrating yourself, breaking generational curses, being a better you, celebrating yourself, setting boundaries with people because y'all need to set some boundaries with these folks. Setting boundaries and just becoming a better you, checking on yourself, going to the doctor, checking on your mental health.
Important.
Because let's be for real, Black people don't go to the doctor.
Right, don't.
You gotta bring it up and then
or something bad has to happen for them to go. Yeah.
Because why you gotta be on your deathbed
for you to go to the doctor? Yeah.
And for Black women, why you got to be pregnant or having coochie problems to go to the doctor?
Right. Okay, so let's take it back when you said you started your Plus organization at Prairie View University. What made you want to start a Pretty Ladies Unique Shape organization?
So it started as this girl I was friends with in college. We were both pals, and so she asked me to be in a fashion show. She was like, "I'm trying to put together this fashion show," and so I had already been thinking about doing like a plus size pageant, and I was like, "Well, like since you saying you want to put on a fashion show, can we collab and do it together?" And she agreed, and so some of the girls we just randomly like went up to and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to participate in the fashion show?" And so the lady, Miss Wright, she was one of the people that worked on campus at the time, and she let us do the fashion show through her organization. It had got so many people. Literally, the Juvenile Justice Auditorium was packed out. And that auditorium is big, but it ain't big, but it's over 100 plus chairs in there. So that was packed out, and I was like, okay. So then people was like, how do I join? How do I join? And we like, join? What is join? Like, what? So we did the paperwork to make it an official organization on campus. In that first semester, we literally had like 50 girls, like that next semester. Then that next year, we literally had like 110 girls. So it was just like crazy. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, because when I got there, y'all had a lot of girls.
Yeah, and a lot of people was like, saying that they want to get confident. They don't have no self-love. They don't have self-worth. Like, just different things. And so the organization goal was to allow women to feel comfortable in their bodies, be unapologetically about themselves, their size, and everything. Because I see, like, in the plus size world, I've been plus size my whole life. So in the plus size world, it's just some women, they feel like less than, they don't feel comfortable with their body. And I tell people all the time, even any size woman, you have to love your body no matter what size it's in. Right. Because number one, God woke you up this morning. You ain't have to get up. So I feel like as women, especially Black women, we spend so much time talking down on ourselves, what we hate about ourselves. We hate our hair. We hate our makeup. We hate our nose. We hate our body, our titties, our booty,
armpits.
Armpits. We hate our black marks between our thighs. We spend so much time.
Insecure about certain things.
Insecure about every damn thing. We find everything to be insecure about instead of saying, thank you, God, for my body. I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm breathing. And so that was my ultimate goal, to just get people to love their bodies no matter what state is in. Because we be talking about ourselves. It's people who can't walk and talk and things like that. Like people who wish they people didn't even make it to this moment, but we spending this moment talking about ourselves.
Right. And that's something I really do love about you. The fact that you love to dress.
Period.
When I tell y'all, I used to be a tomboy and she got me out of that in college.
And my girl wear heels. Period.
I used to go to class with bonnets on, scarves on. She hated this.
I hate when they leave out the house with a bonnet.
This was my roommate, so she saw me every day and she always corrected me. But I really love how you carry yourself as a woman and being a plus size woman. And honestly, people be sleeping on plus size women.
Period.
It's a lot of plus size women out there that really be popping their shit.
And they do.
That really be putting that shit on, real talk.
And let me tell you, I also hate when people put plus size women in a box. Like, I made a TikTok that went viral a few weeks ago. Like, I was saying that you telling a plus-size woman that you love her confidence is not a compliment. It's basically making it seem like as plus-size women, we're not supposed to be confident. We're supposed to be in the slums. Like, we ain't supposed to have no get up about ourselves. And I've been getting up, been having to get up since the get up got me, baby, since I came out the womb. So I've been having to get up. So it's just, I really hate those things. But also, plus-size women put themselves in that category because they say things like, "Oh, I'm big fine," or "I'm this and that," and they put themselves in the box. So it's not just other people doing it; it's sometimes ourselves doing it, like saying, "I'm just this and that." When you more than that, like you don't have to put yourself in a box for that specific title. Like when you tell somebody you could dress, just say you can dress. You don't have to say, "Oh, I could dress for a plus size girl."
Right?
Just say I could dress. Like just say you can dress.
And it's crazy because on Instagram I've seen plus size women like post a picture and be like "big girl fine" or stuff like
I don't
that.
like that. Why I just can't be fine?
Right? Why you have to add big girl?
Because you already can see this is luscious. You already can see it's luscious. You don't have to put that in there.
Right.
So it's just certain things as a whole that we have to change, not just as plus size women, but just as Black women in general. Just how we talk about ourselves, how we hold ourselves up, and just holding ourselves accountable, especially when we go out in public. People always expect us to be ratchet and this and that. Like that's why I said no more. We ain't going outside in no bonnets. Big period, because they expect those things. And I tell my students that too. Like, we not going out. You're not coming to school. Take that bonnet off.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's some braids under the. Take them off, because you know.
Right. It's all about how you carry yourself. Yeah, and you have so many people outside looking at you as well. So when you talk about you being in, you say you was depressed. In what year was that?
2022. Y'all, I was going through a crisis. I'm surprised my girlfriend didn't lock me up in the crazy house. For real.
In 2022, you were depressed. Let's talk about spirituality with your relationship with God and how you got out of that depression state.
Because God got me out of that stage, y'all.
God be working.
God work.
We a witness.
He did more. God does it. God does it every time.
Oh.
Let me tell y'all. 2022, I was down bad, depressed. I know I wasn't even depressed yet. I was anxious as hell.
2022, that was the year my dad passed, and I was okay, I was in a dark place too. Wow, 2022 was the year.
2022 took me, dragged me, spit me out, threw me everything. So y'all, a situation happened, and it's probably gonna be funny when I say it. I can laugh about it now because me and my therapist, we be laughing about it, but it wasn't funny back then. So I went out with one of my Instagram friends, or really my TikTok friend, and then she was living like up in Seattle at the time. So she went up to Seattle. She came down for her birthday weekend in Houston, and so we just connected like that. So I'm like, oh, I'm hanging out with one of my little my TikTok besties or whatever. You know, you got social media friends.
Yeah, social media friends.
Yeah. So we went out. We went to Chapman and Kirby. She ordered some bottles. We all put in. And mind you, I don't drink. I'm not a caffeine drinker. I drink water. I drink sparkling waters. That's all I do. We was mixing Red Bull with the tequila. I don't drink caffeine. I don't do none of that. So we was mixing Red Bull with the tequila. We lit. I got home, y'all. I literally got home and I went to sleep. Y'all, my motherfucking heart was beating so fast, it woke me up out my sleep. So I thought I was dying. So I had recalling 911 people.
Red Bull gave you wings. Red Bull gave you wings.
Baby, I'm flying away at this point. Red Bull gave me wings. So anyways, I thought I was dying. They took me to the hospital. I told them what had happened. They said it might be the Red Bull. But in my mind, I thought that something was really wrong with me. I thought the doctors didn't know what they was talking about. Went home. like ever since, like from that day on, I was anxious about everything. That small situation made me scared to go to sleep. I had did so much damage to my body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was bad. Like, girl, I couldn't sleep. I gave myself a neck spasm so bad for like months. I really couldn't, like, I was going to physical therapy for it. And then I was so anxious every day. I was thinking like negative thoughts. I kept thinking something was going to happen to me. It was to the point where I was so anxious every day. I was checking my heart rate on my Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
I threw my nervous system off. So you know how sometimes when you have like pins and needles in your body, like you ever get like, okay, say for instance, you sit on the toilet, your feet go numb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I felt about my whole body. Like my
Mhm.
whole body was just, I could feel pricklies. Like somebody was like sticking me with a needle all over my body.
Mm-hmm.
So that came from like being anxious every day. Your body is in something called fight or fight mode, which is something our parents probably live through every time all the time because they don't believe, like, you know, some of them don't believe in mental health. And so they probably went through things where they was anxious every day, all day. So I was experiencing true, like, I thought I was going crazy. So on top of me feeling like something bad gonna happen to me, I kept thinking I was gonna have a heart attack. I was feeling pins and needles on my body. My body started twitching. I started having all these other problems. I started having stomach problems. Just my neck was hurting, my body was hurting, all my joints was popping. I really thought like I had an autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see people say stress can kill you,
Yeah.
I literally experienced what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, like it probably took my body is still kind of recovering from all the stress I put my body through for like 6+ months, 6 to 8 months. And so I think about that and I'm thinking about the stuff that our grandparents and our great-grandparents experienced stress and they didn't talk to nobody. They didn't get no help.
They didn't go nowhere for no help.
Yeah, like my body, I saw something on Twitter was saying like you know, you make yourself sick when you like depressed and anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had gave me some anxiety. I finally had, after I visited my PCP 30 times, I know she was tired of y'all. I had to see. I literally thought I was going crazy. I saw every fucking doctor, like for real. I saw the rheumatologist, which is like autoimmune. I had to see the hematologist because my blood work was off because I was so anxious every day. I threw my blood work, like my results off, and then like the hematologist had to like come talk to me. Like she was like, all your results was fine. I had got like 3 MRIs on my head, on my spine. Like y'all thought I was going crazy, but I was making myself sick from being anxious every day, and just it was making me depressed. Like I didn't want to get out the bed. It was like times where I was scared to get out the house. Like my girlfriend was like that was really my rock because she really could put me in a crazy house, y'all. I really thought I was going crazy. But I was really talking to my mama about it. Even like y'all for Mother's Day, I was so anxious. I got up and went to the bathroom. Like we was out to eat. I got up and went to the bathroom like 6 times. My mama was crying because she had never seen me so anxious. She kept saying like she wanted me to get back to myself. I didn't get my hair done, my nails done, nothing. I was just anxious every day, all day. I thought I was gonna die. Like it was so crazy. And I'm just thinking like, damn, our parents really experienced some things like this without ever getting help. Our grandparents. Like my grandmother is like I feel like she has bad anxiety too because she suffered with some things now that are probably due to stress related issues. So we make ourselves sick as Black people instead of getting help. And so I'm all the way for therapy. I've been in therapy for 2 years now. May 9th made my 2 years in therapy. And me and my therapist like this. That's my ace boom coon. I text her if I'm having a moment. She scheduled me an appointment. That's really my dog. I really wish that we could go out and have dinner, like, because I really want to treat her because she don't know how much she's been like influential in my life when I was going through that, like that time in my life. Like I really thought I was crazy. And like we could laugh about it now because she was like, at one point when she first became my therapist, she was kind of like hinting that I'm making myself sick. But we didn't have that rapport. We didn't build that rapport yet where she couldn't just say, you acting crazy. You know?
Yeah.
So eventually when we look back on it, she started getting myself back together and she was just like, Miss Kayla,
you on it.
You was going through it.
Yeah.
Like you was tripping. Like, and we was just I bust out laughing and she bust out laughing. I was like, Miss Kim, I know I was tripping. Like, you know, I know I was tripping, but I'm grateful for that moment because in that moment I never stopped praying. I literally was praying to God every day to get me out of that dark place. Praying to God. I was going to church. I was still going to church faithfully, and I know my pastor was. I was on the floor some days, like literally just crying because God was literally, he was giving me signs that nothing was really wrong with me, but the devil would play with your mind and try to make you believe something. And it's like God is constantly giving you grace and telling you, I'm here for you. And I never lost faith of that.
Oh.
And so for that, I'm grateful. And it's so crazy that I'm able to just talk about God like that, because I didn't grow up in the church like that. And so building a relationship with God in your 20s.
Girl, talk to him, because we're about to go there.
Yeah. Building a relationship with God in your 20s and just trying to figure out who he is, what he has done for you, who he is in your life, how he has helped you. Because God knew who I was before he
girl, I was even thought of.
Girl, God is so good.
Before I was even thought of, he knew who I was. And I'm glad we're on that conversation now, because I was in a dark place when
Tell me about it.
So July 12th, my dad was murdered, and that was my stepdad who raised me. My biological father died when I was 3 years old, and that was really my first time actually losing somebody that was that close to me. And it took a lot out of me. I was in a dark place. I didn't want to leave the house. That was in July. I had to go back to work dealing with kids, teaching in August, and I wasn't ready for it. So I was putting on an act every day, going to work to be strong for kids. But on my way to work and leaving work every day, I was crying every day. I was talking to God every day. I was asking for strength. And people don't understand how that man listens. When I tell you he listens, and he's always there. And it's so crazy, because when I started going back to church, it was like the pastor was talking to me.
He always,
it was like
God always trying to give us that message, baby. Even when we don't want to hear it, that message gonna be delivered.
He was always talking to me, and then it was times to where it was anxiety. I was deep into my head. I was thinking negative, and I was thinking about ways to where if I was there, how could I have saved my dad? Like, that's how my mind was wandering. And I started praying. And it was days to where I didn't pray, but it was days to where I woke up and I still said, thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you for this. Like, it's the simple things that matter. Every day, if you wake up and just say, thank you, God, I promise you that man is happy just because you said thank you. But coming out of that dark place, I'm actually shocked where I am today, because I didn't picture none of this at that moment. Like, I really wanted to just shut down and just say F it, say forget it. But God was there the whole time, and he's still right by me. He's still right by me. And the fact that you bring up therapy, I'm gonna be honest, I want to do therapy. Wanted to do therapy at that moment too, but I was like, I need to talk to God first. That's the person I need to have a relationship with first before I go to anybody else and pour my heart out to them. So with you you say you've been going to therapy for
2 years.
2 years. And honestly, people that go to therapy, they love it. They enjoy it.
I love it.
My little sister go to therapy now. My aunt is in therapy. My godmom goes to therapy. So with me trying to find a therapist, I need to get your therapist information.
And you know what's crazy? The people I go to therapy with are based in Houston. She's Black owned. Her Instagram and her website is like Masterpiece Wellness. And her name is Mona Lisa. But she has like majority of the therapists are Black. It's probably a few, a little sprinkle here and there, but most of them are Black. They have men on there. And so you can kind of read their bios and figure out what you like, who you don't like, or whatever. And then you can send an inquiry asking, is this person taking new clients? And then or you can request a list of people all the therapists that's taking new clients.
Gotcha.
And then you can go from there, because therapy is life-changing. Think about, you tell your best friend one thing, and then you tell another friend something, but nobody really knows everything.
Right.
And so that therapist is somebody who you tell everything. And so it feels good, because a lot of times we hold things in that we don't tell nobody. Like, you might tell somebody a story, but you don't tell them, sometimes you don't tell the full story.
Right.
So it's like you feel those things, and so your therapist is kind of there for you to let it all go, and then you feel released, because we carry burdens around with us sometimes on our back that we can't help. So it feels good to let those things go. Like, one day I was about to cancel my therapy session because me and my girlfriend was out to eat, and we had kind of already ate, but we were still eating, and my therapy session was coming up, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to I text her, I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to cancel. She was like, well, it's gonna be like a such and such fee, you know, just because that's how it goes if you cancel same day. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just have it. So I left and I went into Target and we talked and she was like, so you telling me you ain't need this session? And I was like, I said, I never said I didn't need it, but I was just a little busy, but I definitely need it. Like, you know, so sometimes we need those time to decompress. And then, like I said, sometimes people become what they've been through or what they've seen. Like, if you grew up in a single parent household and your mama was just, you know, verbally abusive and those type of things, then you become verbally abusive.
Right.
Sometimes people become what they've been through. And so sometimes when we're looking to change and God is telling us change, we look for people to help us, you know, get to that place in our life.
And I'm glad you brought up the, you know, if your mom verbally abusive, you become verbally abusive. And that's crazy because as I'm growing, it's things that I've seen my mom do. It's things that I've seen my mom say. And now I have to catch myself. And I'll be like, okay, I've seen this before, but I catch myself, no, I'm breaking generational curses. That's what I'm doing right now. And that's my main focus, is to break generational curses, because our upbringing it could either make you or break you.
That's true.
And that's what people have to understand. So I'm actually glad that you brought that up. So let's talk about you. Okay, let me bring it back. What's something you would tell 14-year-old Kayla now?
So when I was 14, I was a freshman in high school. So if I was still a 14-year-old Kayla, I would tell her to keep going, keep being you. Girl, you don't even know what you got coming, okay? Keep being you, keep going, keep encouraging people and keep pouring into people, and put your foot on their neck.
Period.
Because that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. So that's something I would tell my 14-year-old self, like, that foot on their neck. Be encouraged, stay encouraged, and just keep loving who you are. Keep embracing who you are. Keep loving your body, loving your hair, loving everything about you.
And it's crazy because when I look back at my 14-year-old self, my younger childhood, I tell myself all the time, she's proud.
Even 18-year-old you, 19-year-old you.
She's proud because when we were kids, we was going through a lot.
Right.
As kids, we were going through a lot, but we didn't know what we was going through. That's the crazy thing. Like, a lot of stuff that I'm going through now, or a lot of stuff that I see now, I be like, man, I seen that years ago, but now I know how to handle it. So let's talk about some lessons you've learned in life.
Ooh.
Lessons you learned in life. Let's talk about it.
I would say the biggest lesson I've learned thus far is to give myself grace. And that's anybody, give yourself grace. Because you see so many people doing so many things. And so sometimes you might feel like you're behind in life. You're not doing enough. You're doing too little. Or you might think you're doing too much. It's important to give yourself grace because God gives us grace. So you give yourself grace. Stop beating yourself up. I tell people all the time, like, you are constantly growing and changing every day. So when people be like, oh, she changed so much. Okay, and you're going to continue to change. I'm scared for anybody who's not changing.
Right. Oh, girl.
I'm scared for anybody who's not changing their life and constantly elevating and growing.
And anybody who feel like, oh, I'm going to be this way, I'm the same person, I'm not changing for nobody, you have to change. You're going to change.
That is the most ignorant thing somebody can ever say is, oh, I ain't changing for this, I'm not changing for that. I tell somebody, if you with somebody or in a relationship with somebody who feel like they won't change for you or they'll be the same type of way, whether it's disrespectful or whatever, like, you cut it. Because they're not trying to elevate, they're trying to grow. And I'm not saying you don't have to force somebody who really want to grow with you, or whether it's your friend group or what. Somebody might take a long time. You know, everybody's timing is not the same. But you just have to be patient with yourself and you have to want to grow and do better. I was literally on the phone with my best friend today, and she was saying that, like, some things will set her back from her growth journey. I'm like, nothing is setting you back. Like, it's a small mistake you learn from and you keep going.
Yeah, you just keep going. Yeah.
Because if you stop, I mean, the stop is not beneficial for you. Like, just keep going. You make a mistake,
learn from it.
You ask for forgiveness, you move on. So I did that today. I almost cut somebody out today. I had to say, God, protect my mouth. And I kept on going. Right. Because something I'm really trying to do right now is stop cussing so much. Because I grew up in a cussing family. My mama and them cusses, my daddy and them cusses, everybody family cusses. So I'm trying to watch what I say. I might say a little. My limit is 5 like for the day. So I be trying not to go past that because I'm just trying to stop cursing and using more positive words.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now I might use shit and damn. But the other cuss words, like I'm trying to stop that. I'm trying to elevate my mouth, trying to get that mouth together. Because that mouth is loose sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah, so it can be. I'm working on that. What's something
so some things I've learned, I can say I've learned to stop telling my business to people, because everyone is not happy for you and everyone is not going to give you the best advice. I can say I've learned that every L is not a loss, it's a lesson. I do not look at L's as a loss. It's a lesson. I learned from it and I moved on. I'm not going to say, oh, that's a loss and boo-hoo, cry over it. That's what I'm not going to do. And like you said, have grace.
Give yourself grace.
I most definitely, I've been giving myself too much grace, actually. Too much
Keep giving that grace, baby. Keep giving that grace.
Too much grace, but I know God is still working with me and on me. So as long as I am patient with myself, I am good. And I learned to just be happy, be happy, be peaceful, and not let negativity. Negativity.
When I got a friend, she's so negative.
Negativity is, man, it could ruin you. When I tell you, my mindset is nothing but positivity. All I think is positive. If a negative thought do pop up in my mind, I quickly ask God to remove it, and then I start thinking positive. So those are some things that I have learned.
Let's go back to these negative people.
Negative people. Let's talk about it. Why people are, it's crazy because people, I don't know why people like being negative. Like,
because what do you get from being negative?
I don't get it. Like when my friends come to me with negative thoughts, I'd be like, no, switch that.
Because what is you talking, like you...
It haven't even happened yet, so why are you already thinking negative?
Thank you.
So when it do happen, guess what's going to happen? Something negative.
And the power of the tongue is real. You really have to watch what you say. You really got to watch what you say, because you might say those negative things and then they happen because you've said them and you've already spoke those things over your life.
Right.
You have to speak positive things about what you want over your life.
Positivity.
Because just like you say something negative can happen.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah.
So it's like we got to keep positive mind, even in the midst of the stuff going on, negative things going on. You just got to keep a positive mind.
And when you have friends that are trying to do something good for themselves or that are doing something good for themselves, don't come to them with the negative mindset or negative energy. And then when that person feel like you're jealous or you hating this, oh, I'm not jealous or I'm not hating. Well, why
hater though?
Why would you say something negative
I got a friend
instead of supporting? I'm not even
say that's my friend no more because I really don't talk to him like that. But it's just always negative. Got something to say. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing? And it's like, then when you do something good, it's like it get fake because it's like, are you really happy for me or are you just saying it because I'm popping right? Like, I'm popping.
Right.
I ain't going to say right now, I'm popping regardless. Yeah. So it's like, no. And then I don't talk to them like that no more because I can't do it with, No, negative Nancy.
Yeah,
hang up on you. Not in the mood.
I have to erase all negative energy, negative vibes, negative people out of my life because that bring me down as well. Now I'm thinking negative and now I'm thinking, well, dang, what if that do happen? When the whole time I was thinking positive, I wasn't thinking about if something bad would happen. Now I have to come up with a solution for that.
But you know, some people are negative because they've been talking negative to their whole life.
Yeah.
And so they project that negativity on other people. And instead of having self-awareness, because that's something a lot of people don't have, self-awareness. They project those feelings and how they feel. They just negative. Like, we don't do that, boo. No. We do positive vibes only over here.
Positive only.
And we give out positive energy. Like when you said you was doing this, I said, do it. I'm finna find you somebody. I know somebody.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. So those are the type of people you need in your life to encourage you even when you're down, because I need people that's going to fill me back up just as much as I'm going to feel them. But because when my cup, I be filling people up, and then
right.
my cup be empty.
Right.
So I need people that's equally yoked in my circle. And I'm not saying you got to be on my level, but we just all got to be encouraging and influencing each other. Because when my cup empty, who gonna pour me up?
Exactly.
Pour it up, pour it up.
Clock that tea.
Period. Clock that.
Clock that tea. Okay, so before we go, I do want to, you did say that you came out with the journal. Honestly, last year, 2022, I started journaling.
Yeah!
And I'm going to let y'all know now. I wrote down my goals in my journal, and this was one of them. So
come on, goals happening.
So
come on, vision board.
Getting a journal, manifesting in your journal, praying in your journal, writing goals in your journal, y'all, I promise you it works.
It works.
I came up with this in 2022, brainstormed in my journal in 2022.
And God gave you that back in what tenfold?
2023 kept going, and now we're in 2024, and it is here. So before we go, I want you to tell us something Teaaful. What's coming next?
Y'all know y'all want that tea. Clock that tea.
What you have coming next?
So what's coming next is, because I have always loved coloring, I love activity books. I'm coming out with a activity book for women of color. It's going to have crossword puzzles, coloring pages, and it's just going to be a vibe. It's going to be for days you just want to sit down and release. You're having a mental day. Days you want to go to the pool and you just want to put some stuff on the pit and have a little girls' day. You can have it for your tea time with your friends, girl time. If you want to go to Starbucks and have you a drink, you can do your crossword puzzles. It is just going to be a vibe.
So it's like an adult coloring book.
Adult coloring book.
Okay, I like that.
It's gonna have what you need in there.
I like that.
But it's also gonna have like self-love prompts, prayers, scriptures, all that type of stuff, because I love God. What's wrong with you? It's gonna have all that in there. So that's what I got coming up. This is a little bit of tea, what I got coming up. Yeah, so that's what's tea.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Excited.
An adult coloring book, that's hard.
That's gonna be lit.
And it's different. And I'm all about different.
Yeah. And
I'm all about different.
When I first came up with the idea, I started looking on Amazon, because Amazon got everything. And I saw so many, and I'm like, oh my God, this has just brought me, because everybody could do it. So it just kind of like gave me the little I need. And so that's something that I have coming up, and I'm super excited. It's in the works right now. I've met with the same girl that does all my stuff. She's working on it. And so I got to come up with a name. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, you brainstorming right now.
Yeah, I'm brainstorming.
Okay,
but she started designing. I've sent her some things like crossword puzzles and stuff like that. She's working on some things. But yeah, I'm getting my little collage together. I need a picture of you to go in it too. Period. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Women of all shapes and sizes. It's going to be so fun, so cute. And yeah, that's just a little tea.
That's Teaaful. That's tea. So can you tell the people where can they find you on social media, your name?
So you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at Zhane Creates, ZhaneCreates on all social media platforms. And that's on what? Mary had a little lamb.
Period. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with That's Teaaful Podcast. Kayla, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
For being my first guest.
Yes, that's that tea, baby.
Clock it. Yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in to That's Teaaful Podcast. And we are out.
Yes.